Reddit stories. How did you lose your virginity? Once upon a time I was a closeted lesbian. My friends and I used to go into our rural Walmart in the middle of the night to steal beer when we were 17. We usually just pocketed like 1 to 2 each and walked out. One night around 2 a.m. we headed to Walmart to do the usual. We were passing through the toy section to head towards the beer in the back, and we rounded a corner and saw Ben. Ben was in his early 20s. He had a 2-foot-tall mohawk that I later learned was held up by Elmer's glue. He was riding a pink tricycle down the aisle as an employee followed him, trying to get him to stop and put the bike back. We all laughed at him and my buddy struck up a conversation. It came to Ben's attention that we were there to steal beer. He told us he would help. Sweet. He grabbed a cart and proceeded to put an entire 30-pack onto the bottom of the cart. We thought he was being cool and was gonna buy all of that for us, but no, he just wheeled that cart right out into the parking lot to my friend's car. Now, at the time, I knew I was sexually interested in women, but I was still trying really hard to make friends and family believe I was straight. I decided that if I had to have a man, this was the guy for me. I started flirting and got his number. Next weekend a friend down in Jacksonville was having a party. My best friend said we should go, and that she was bringing her boyfriend Philip and that they were going to do it for the first time the night of the party. My entire puberty thus far I'd been following my best friend's cues. I got my first boyfriend when she did. I kissed a boy the same time she did. Etc. So I figured, well shit, okay, I guess it's time to lose my virginity now too. I invited Ben and we went down to Florida. Turns out the only private place to do the deed was one bedroom. My best friend and I lost our virginity together in the same bed. LMAO. Long story short, Ben is actually a really nice and intuitive guy. He asked me later why I seemed uncomfortable. I admitted I was gay. He was one of the first people I was honest about it with. I am now married to a woman and Ben and I still keep in touch, almost 20 years later. I was 14, legal age in my country, because my partner was 14 too. Happened to be left alone for a few hours and we were horny teens, so we did it on his couch. I don't regret it, but it was pretty underwhelming. Never did it with the guy again. Lunch break at high school. His house was like a 2-minute walk from the gates. We snuck out. He stopped halfway through to look out the window and make sure his mother hadn't come home from work because he thought he heard a car pull into the driveway. Single bed, in a room he shared with 2 brothers. Strangely somehow still wasn't terrible. Young love. 26 extremely intense seconds. Missionary. I finished sweating over her, panting. Asked her, did you come too? Like a fucking idiot. Lost it with my second girlfriend. I was her first boyfriend, so she made me wait almost 2 years. She was going to move away to the US cause of the aftermath of a hurricane, so we decided to do it in case the long distance was too much. Both of us were virgins. A girl caught my eye at a college dance. I had previously spoken to her once before and complimented her Zelda shirt. I talked to her all evening, then invited her back to my apartment to show her Breath of the Wild, which had just come out. We play until 5 in the morning. I regretted not making a move. I invited her over for Zelda again the next evening and we stayed up until 5 in the morning doing something different. Edit. Wow, I woke up to so many awards and likes. Thank you everyone. Since some of you have been asking, no, we never got together, but we are still great friends. She is currently with the love of her life and they're perfect together and I couldn't be happier for them both. Smiley face. Behind someone's shed on a pile of logs. We were 16. It was a New Year's house party. I was shit-faced and nervous, so pretended to come, then lobbed the condom into a neighboring field. I was 18. Finally met up with my long-distance girlfriend. We got a hotel suite for a week near where she lived and basically didn't leave it except for food the whole time. In the parking lot of a Fazoli's right after church because my Catholic girlfriend felt bad about doing it before church. Lol. I was 15. My first girlfriend and I went to the movie theater and walked around our local town center afterwards. Around 7 or 8 p.m. when it was dark we walked behind one of the stores, Best Buy I believe, and had sex in their loading dock. I remember it was really cold and extremely uncomfortable. Horrible experience and would not recommend. Age 17. A guy the first thought was super cute threw a small party while his parents were out of the country. There were like 6 of us total. After a couple hours hanging out in the backyard I asked for a full tour of the house which coincidentally, ended in his bedroom. I noticed he had a guitar in his room and asked him to play me a song. He played and sang Little Lion Man by Mumford & Sons which was super popular at the time haha. I realized he was completely tone deaf but felt flattered nevertheless. We kissed and sex followed naturally. We dated for a couple years then broke up when I moved out of state. 6 years later we reconnected and have another 3 years together under our belts. He still sings out of tune and I'll never tell him because I love his voice and the joy singing brings him no matter what. Lost it with my current boyfriend 2 years ago. We were dating for 6 months beforehand and went on a hike for my birthday to my favorite hot springs inside of a slot canyon. It was dark by the time we got to the end where the hot springs were, and no one else was there. We had sex half in and half out of the hot spring. It was a genuinely awesome experience. As we were hiking out, it started pouring and we had to legitimately book it back from this 3-mile hike through a slot canyon to get out. This normally takes about 3 hours to navigate with rock climbing and dangerous terrains even when dry. We made it out in about 1.5 hours running as we were worried about flooding, which, yes, can happen quickly. Thankfully, we made it out unscathed. We'll definitely check the weather next time. It was one of the coolest adrenaline rush experiences I've ever had and I am very lucky to have had such a great time. At my brother's wedding. I was 15, she was 28. Didn't realize until years later how fucked up it actually was. She didn't know I was 15, I looked 19/20ths. Edit. I think because at the time I was slightly proud. Found it funny that I'd lost my virginity in such a rock and roll way. But looking back years later I realized it could have ruined my big brother's big day and potentially sent someone to prison. Luckily neither of those things happened. She had just gone through a messy divorce, and I believe to this day she was just drunk and horny for a groomsman. There's a pun in there somewhere, one of you comics figure it out. To a girl I'd known since middle school. She was at a sleepover with some friends our freshman year of high school. Got a phone call at like 2 a.m. from her and her friends asking if I can get them beer. I had a case from a party in the fridge in my room. I was living with my aunt and uncle and they really didn't care if I drank. So I drove over to her friend's house, and it's like 6 girls having a mini party basically. Her parents were gone. They had me park a block away cause, no guys, rule. And snuck in. Well, they all thank me and of course the topic if sex comes up. Well, Katie and I both admit that we are virgins, so the committee decides we should have sex. We were both down, so fuck it, let's fuck. So yeah, my first time I had an audience. Still friends with Katie to this day, I hang out with her and her wife quite often. Edit. To answer some questions. Katie is bi, so no, I did not drive her to the other team lol. Her wife does know of our history and is cool with it, she's happy we each lost it to someone respectable. Did you like this Reddit before bed story? Please comment and subscribe to our channel.